Adam Wason, Public Works Director for the City of Bloomington. I've got 5:31 p.m. on Tuesday, May 19th here. We are in City Council chambers at City Hall, 401 North Morton Street in Bloomington. This is the regularly scheduled Board of Public Works meeting, and we have board members Elizabeth Carone and James Roach present. Kyla Cox-Deckard is not available for tonight's meeting. There is a Zoom link and meeting ID passcode on the agenda on the website for those that are attending virtually. We do have, it looks like we do have a few members of the public online attending virtually. If you are a member of the public and have public comment on any of the items that are on tonight's agenda, when those come up, please use the raise hand function and we will unmute your mic and allow you your time for public comment, which will be for 3 minutes this evening. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Board President Elizabeth Carone, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Public Works meeting for Tuesday, May 19th, that I will call to order. First, we have messages from board members. Any messages from the board?
None for me.
None for me. Next, we'll go straight to Title VI abatements, and we have a request for abatement at 420 East 6th Street.
Per Bloomington Municipal Code 6.06.020, it is unlawful for any person to throw, place, or scatter any garbage, materials, either public or private, or to suffer or permit any garbage, etc., to be placed or deposited on the premises without the intent to remove, cover, burn it. This particular property at 420 East 6th Street has been in and out of compliance for a period of time. The most recent stretch of noncompliance began around February 20th and has continued on, and I believe it is now, the property is now in compliance and cleaned up. However, the city is still seeking a continuous abatement for trash on this property, given the length of the issues and the continuous nature of the noncompliance.
Thank you.
I'll just jump in real quick here as well. We've been, I've been in conversation with the property owner, Mr. Khan, over the last month or so about different issues with the trash at the property. We are likely to try to figure out a way for a private hauler to service this property instead of our city sanitation services, and we'll be working on that over the next couple weeks. There's some challenges with this property in particular, the number of bedrooms, the amount of waste that gets generated, and how it's just a really tight site to get our trash, to get the trash carts out to the street. Monday morning, that's a Monday morning pickup. That tended to be a problem for this address, and to get all 8 carts placed. So we're going to be looking at some other solutions into the future. We are going to request that you do approve the abatement tonight for the next calendar year, just in case we do have any issues in the future. But we will either be coming back to the board or working with city legal and sanitation staff on likely setting up an arrangement where we would approve a private hauler for this address. On top of that, we probably will work with the 2 other addresses, a couple other addresses right there. This is the section between basically Runcivil Spoon and Dunn Street. There's 3 large rentals there that generate a large amount of trash and volume. So I was working with Brawley Property with one of the other addresses yesterday on a cleanup that we needed. So we're going to have some more conversation about this specific zone of 4 properties that we'll be looking to address. So. But yeah, we do request the approval of the abatement for now.
We also have the neighborhood compliance officer who issued the citations here if you have any specific questions.
All right, thank you. Is the property owner here? Would you like to say anything, sir? We do have the letter that you included in the packet, so thank you for that.
We sent you a letter
Yes.
Stating, and it seems like it's in works now, and we would like to have a private hauler, and we will have more control over that. So in this particular set of tenants that we had this last year were really not, non-compliant, the height of that. It was the worst situation. So we did 6 or more haulings ourselves, but then they thought that it is our job, that they just completely dropped everything. And after, that, and then tickets start to accumulate, and we try to tell them that this is not our job, you need to put the trash in the, bins and all that, but it was completely lack of commitment of any sort from them. It has been a problem, but this year was about the worst. So now that we would like to have, it's in the works, we have a private hauler, and then we have total control, power of the purse, and I will, wield a lot more, control over that thing. And we want to live, O'Neill is my friend. I eat there all the time. I apologize to him all the time, and he said, yeah, I understand and all that. He's been very nice about it, but I don't want that. We just take pictures and pass pictures. Me and my person, Dave, we have been doing that, and we did our utter best, but this time it was pretty bad. So anyway, we hope this will be resolved from here on. They are gone for the summer. We will take care of everything. There's a lot of damage inside the property. We're going to fix all that and then bring everything in compliance. So that's the goal.
Thank you very much. Are there questions from the board?
Just a couple. Adam, this property isn't automatically eligible for private hauler because it's, 4 or less units, is that
Yes.
right? And exceptions to that rule, do those have to come back to the board?
I need to go back through city code on that one. I think the sanitation director has the ability to grant that. I don't know if Taylor was here to answer that or not, but I believe it can be approved at the sanitation director level, and then if it's denied at that level, I believe they can appeal to the board. I honestly haven't been through it in a few years. This just came up this afternoon again. I haven't had a chance to
No, that's
research
fine.
it.
And then just clarification, I already know the answer, but for those at home, if we were to approve the abatement, it is an approval to potentially do the work.
Yes.
It's not a requirement that we do the work.
Correct.
So the property stays clean, we never have to go on the property, we never incur any expenses, and then a year later, it goes away.
Correct. Just because we have the abatement does not mean we have to use it. This is simply just in case.
And I assume before you theoretically might use the abatement, you would contact the property owner?
Generally, that is best practice, is to let them know, hey, the trash is coming, so our people are coming. But no, I should clarify, there's no formal notice required, but general common courtesy, we let them know we're coming.
Okay, thank you. All right, any questions from the public comment on this item? Anyone on Zoom, you may use the raise hand function or chat.
Do we have anybody on Zoom that would like to make a public comment on this item? If so, use the raised hand function. I don't see any.
All right, before we call for motion, I just want to say I really appreciate the continued work on trying to come up with a manageable, mutually beneficial solution here. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the abatement at 420 East 6th Street.
And I second. With a motion and a second, I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Carone? Aye. Motion passes. Next on the agenda is petitions and remonstrances. If anyone has a comment about an item that is not on tonight's agenda, please either approach the podium or let us know on Zoom.
Do any members of the public on Zoom have a public comment for petitions and remonstrances, general, that are for items not on the agenda? I do not see any raised hands going up.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to the consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda includes a service agreement with Todd Septic LLC for the street division, Kirkwood Partnership Agreement between the City of Bloomington, Indiana University Foundation and trustees of Indiana University, Resolution 2026-026, Memorandum of Understanding between City of Bloomington Housing and Neighborhood Development and City of Bloomington Fire for unsafe sealing after a fire, Change Order Number 1 for 2nd Street Curb Ramps Project, Resolution 2026-027, designation of fleet surplus, April 2026. Amendment 1 to the service agreement with Office Pride. Service agreement with Groomer Construction for planter box repairs on Kirkwood and payroll. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda tonight? None for me either, but I would just like to disclose, as we discussed in the work session yesterday, per item number 2, the Kirkwood Partnership Agreement between the City of Bloomington, Indiana University Foundation and trustees of Indiana University. I do work for Indiana University. I have no relationship with the Board of Trustees or the IU Foundation. All right, any board comment or question about anything on the consent agenda?
No.
All right, public comment on the consent agenda this evening.
I don't see any on Zoom.
All right, is there a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda for the meeting of Tuesday, May 19th.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Corone? Aye. Motion passes. First on the new business agenda is the LPA consulting agreement with HNTB Indiana, Inc. for construction engineering services for the downtown curb ramp Phase 4 project.
Good evening, Neil Copper with engineering. This is a project to improve pedestrian safety and accessibility by reconstructing sidewalk curb ramps in the downtown area utilizing federal funding. HNTB was selected to perform construction engineering services as the top scoring firm in response to a request for proposals. The contract is set at a not-to-exceed amount of $112,382, and then billing for the work is actually based on the actual hours spent on inspection services. Staff has reviewed and supports this contract, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on this item? Is there public comment on this item? Once more, if you're on Zoom, feel free to use the raise hand function or chat.
I don't see anything.
All right, is there a motion?
I move we approve the LPA consulting agreement with HNTB Indiana, Inc. for construction engineering services for downtown curb ramp Phase 4 project.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Corone? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the right-of-way closure request for City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation at South Rogers for the Powerline Trail project.
Good evening, Kyle Ball from Engineering. City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation is requesting the closure of South Rogers from May 25th through June 5th of this year. They're requesting this closure as part of the Powerline Trail project, which I think we mentioned in the work session has been many years in the making. So we're very excited to get this one off and rolling. As discussed also in the work session, this closure would take place just north of the Switchyard Park entrance, so access to the park would be maintained, albeit through the northbound Rogers entrance there. Working with Parks, pre-con meetings have already been underway for a few months at this point. We're ensuring that they're working directly with all the necessary partners. They have agreed that local access would be maintained for all the residents that are adjacent to that project site. And we have some other projects that would potentially conflict if we were to push this out, so they know that they have to stick to this timeline pretty stringently.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Just to reiterate some of our conversations during the work session, the detour signage would include instructions for people wanting to enter the park. Is that correct?
I will double check on that, but that's typically what we advise.
Great. And the again, for those that weren't here yesterday, and aren't aware of the Powerline Trail project, to give a very brief explanation of where that trail is and where it goes to.
Yeah, I'll handle that one. So the Powerline Trail's been something that's been in the works between Parks and Rec and the mayor's office and many departments for some time now, where a planned trail has been planned for west of Rogers towards Weimer Road through north of the RCA Park and such, and it will kind of parallel the transmission lines from Duke Energy over towards what will be the new Sudbury development with that's got that planned unit development approved. So a nice connecting trail from Switchyard Park basically to the west towards Weimer.
Great, thank you.
I do just have one question. The staff report says that the closure is during normal construction hours. Will the closure be 24 hours, or will it be open in the evenings?
Yeah, so that's all, that's completely on me. So we're toying around with templates to make these a little bit more consistent in the presentations. So the closure would be 24 hours continuous. The work itself would be taking place during normal construction hours.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this item?
I don't see any raised hands online.
All right, is there a motion?
I move we approve the right-of-way closure request for the City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation at South Rogers for the Power Line Trail Project.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Corone, aye. Motion passes. Next is the right-of-way closure request for CenterPoint Energy.
Kyle Ball, engineering once again. CenterPoint's requesting a temporary closure on East Woodstock Place, on High Street adjacent to East Woodstock Place to accommodate a service replacement of gas lines. This is anticipated to be a 1 to 2 day closure, and it would be during normal construction hours. So this is being proposed because there is no detour for the sidewalk to go across the street there, for pedestrians to go across the street there. So we are requesting the closure in order to move those folks around the work site safely and on that same side of the road there, as part of a guided diversion that CenterPoint would be utilizing. So the plan for this is to occur in the first week of June. They've been made aware of how leery we are of this location and just how important it is. We had a couple of closures that came up in this past 6 months or so that were in the same location. So lessons learned there, but things have gone pretty well.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Used a term that I'm not familiar with, guided diversion. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, this is the first week I think we've ever used that term somehow or another. So a guided diversion is utilized in an area where a typical stage diversion isn't a possibility, or there's no detour route for a full closure to be in place there. We sparingly have some examples of this, but generally speaking, where there's only one sidewalk, not a paired sidewalk along a stretch of road, the expectation is that the crews are on the lookout to see if there's anybody that might need assistance through those work areas and be willing to help them.
Great, thank you.
I will just ask preemptively, because the next agenda item includes the same area as this one, if you would just touch on the coordination.
Oh, yes, thank you, yes.
That'd be great.
So we have quite a bit of work that's going to be coming up in the High Street corridor, thankfully during the summer session, not while school's in session. This work is going to be a one-off single permit to re-up the service to a single home. The following request that we'll talk about here in just a minute is going to be for relocation of an entire project area, so much wider in scale.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, is there any public comment on this item?
I do not see any on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of the right-of-way closure request for CenterPoint Energy at High and Woodstock.
I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Corone, aye. Motion passes. Next is the right-of-way closure request for High Street utility relocation.
Kyle Ball, engineering, once again. So this request is a trial of sorts for us to kind of package a lot of similar requests that are going to come in the same time frame to make it a little bit more clear to the public what exactly is going on. So this request stemmed from the start of utility relocation work, which is going to be starting this week with M Street Fiber Network. where lane and sidewalk closures would be in place throughout the corridor of High Street, so from Arden to East 3rd. So quite a bit of disturbance will be had in the area, but we wanted to make sure that we're bringing a singular item that's going to have the bulk of the requests. There might be some one-off request here or there if there's some issue on site. We'll handle those as they come up, but this is for just lane and sidewalk closure throughout that corridor. The expected dates would be the start of this week until October 31st of this year. So this would all take place to relocate the various utilities, which include Duke Energy, Smithville Communications, M Street Fiber, as mentioned, City of Bloomington Utilities, CenterPoint Energy, Comcast Cable, AT&T, and Zayo Communications. So all of those would be relocated during this time span ahead of the High Street Multi-Use Path project that'll be starting late this year, early next year.
Great. Thank you. Questions from the board?
Can you just clarify which side of the road the multi-use path is going to be on?
East side.
Great, thank you.
Is there any public comment on this item?
I do not see any raised hands.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move approval of the right-of-way closure request for the High Street Utility Relocation Project.
And I second. With a motion and a second, I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Corone, aye. Motion passes. Continuing on the Kyle Show tonight, right-of-way closure request for Service Solutions, ROW 2026-05-2474.
So this request is being made to, sorry, let me get my bearings here. Is for sidewalk improvements on this 300 block of North Jefferson. Unfortunately, there's no other alternative for this, so this is going to come back to that pedestrian-guided diversion, if you will, that we talked about just a moment ago. But staff did evaluate all the possibilities here, so this work would be taking place on that same side of the street, so a pedestrian diversion like we would see with the Jersey barriers and all that. Because there's no curb ramps available in that segment, there's also parking restrictions there if we utilize that, or if folks don't have any parking driveways to utilize. On the opposite side of the street, the sidewalk is non-continuous, so it would leave folks to step down from a curb in order to get back into the street. So really not an ideal scenario on any front. But they're looking for this 1 week request to take place in the month of June. They would be utilizing a pedestrian-guided diversion where the crews would be on the lookout for anybody that may or may not need help to get through that work area, and hoping to get that wrapped up sooner rather than later.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Just one quick question. I noticed that some of these right-of-way requests have like a code number associated with it, and some don't. Is there a particular reason?
Several people submitting these staff reports is the base reason. I actually talked to Miranda earlier this week about formalizing exactly how these should be entered. I know they've come in many different forms and fashions over the years, at least since I've been here, and I'd like to cut down on that. So we'll work on that to make it a little bit more clear. The ROW number is simply the electronic number that's assigned to the permit application in our system. So whenever we're looking back at these notes, it might be easier to be able to derive what permit we're talking about.
Is there public comment on this item?
None on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of the right-of-way closure request for Service Solutions. Permit number, do you need that? No? Okay.
And I second. I'll call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Corone, aye. Motion passes. Next is the right-of-way closure request for Foursquare Restoration at 223 East First Street.
So Foursquare is requesting this closure, the sidewalk closure, for a single week starting May 25th in order to repair the retaining wall and sidewalk and I believe foundation of this home. In this scenario, we do have an option to divert folks through with a detour, so that would be a standard detour in place to put them on the east side of the street to make sure that they have a continuous path. Yeah, this one should be fairly simple.
Thanks. Any questions from the board? Any public comment on this item?
Does not appear to be any on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of right-of-way closure request for Foursquare Restoration at 223 East First Street.
I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Carone, aye. Motion passes. Next is a right-of-way closure request for Duke Energy.
This one I'm going to read more on script for because there are a lot of specific road names, which we appreciate. So Duke Energy is requesting temporary sidewalk closures at or near the intersections of South Forester Street, East Rogers Road, David Drive, South Sayre Road, South Spicewood Lane, South Sayre Road again, South Sayre Road, Hunters Glen and Sayre Road and East Aurora Road, Jamie Lane and East Aurora Road, Benson Court and East Aurora, to accommodate the installation on new equipment for 7 poles and to install 3 new poles themselves. The reason this is being brought to you guys is because the total expected time for those sidewalk closures to take place is going to be exceeding 24 hours, or there might be that case. So we just wanted to be proactive here. So these closures are proposed from July 7th through July 21st of this year. I know that Adam brought up a potential conflict with a bridge project in that same area. We've worked with Roy in engineering, so Zach is going to follow up with both parties to make sure that at least those dates are shared, but at this point we don't expect there to be a conflict with that project, but we'll make sure that both parties are in communication to avoid that.
Thank you. Questions from the board? I assume this is, this will be moving closures, is that all the locations will not be closed at one time?
Correct. Yeah, this is, very short term, typically speaking, with the bucket trucks on the lane or, in the tree plot area, that sort of thing.
Great, thank you. Is there any public comment on this item?
None on Zoom.
All right, is there a motion?
I move approval of the right-of-way closure request for Duke Energy.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Carone, aye. Motion passes. Next is the right-of-way closure request for CenterPoint Energy on West 2nd Street and South Morton Avenue for gas main replacement.
Yeah, okay, so this one is our probably funnest one of the evening. We have 1 to 3 day expected time frame for a closure at 2nd and Morton, specifically closing 2nd Street. This would be overnight work to replace the gas main that's running through that stretch across 2nd Street along Morton. The subcontractor for CenterPoint Energy is the one performing the work, so that's Miller Pipeline. They've been made aware of, just how quickly we want this done, which is as fast as possible, of course. So they're currently out right now doing some of the auxiliary work on the side streets there to make this just as smooth and fast as possible. Daytime, they will have this plated or backfilled so that it's traversable. They have also been asked to work with the Kroger and Wendy's properties there to make sure that they're prepared for this closure just as well. So this would be taking place starting tomorrow into next week, give or take a day here or there. But it sounds like they're going to do everything possible to knock this out as quickly as possible and limit the impact.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Is there any public comment on this item?
I don't see any on Zoom.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move approval of the right-of-way closure request for CenterPoint Energy at West 2nd Street and South Morton Avenue for gas main replacement.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Carone, aye. Motion passes. Next is Resolution 2026-028, closure of Clubhouse Drive.
Good evening, Adam Wason, Public Works Director for the City of Bloomington. This is a request in coordination with the city legal department and the engineering department for a closure of Clubhouse Drive directly west of Old State Road 37, sometimes affectionately known as Lower Cascades Drive. And I'm going to turn it over to Audrey Brittenham and Michael from the engineering department to answer the specific questions and offer more information.
Sorry about that. I got lost in my email. Thanks, Adam. Okay, so as we discussed on yesterday during the week session, about a week ago Friday, the legal department received an inspection report from the county legal department regarding Bridge 317 on West Clubhouse Drive, just west of where it tees into North Old State Road 37. The report indicates the bridge needs imminent repairs. The content of the report was shared with Public Works and Parks and Engineering. Engineering, in consultation with the legal department and Public Works, determined the bridge wasn't safe for vehicular traffic. In order to preserve public safety and to keep vehicles from continuing to use the bridge, Public Works Department closed West Clubhouse Drive on the east and west side of Bridge 317. The Board of Public Works has the authority granted to it via statute and Title 12 of the city's ordinance over the city's right-of-ways and infrastructure. So we're currently asking the Board of Public Works to ratify the decision to close Clubhouse Road on either side of Bridge 317 until such time that the road is considered safe for vehicular traffic. The city is closing the road and not the bridge because at this time the city does not think that we don't believe that we own the bridge and that we have the authority to close the bridge, but we do have authority over, the board has the authority over the roads and the right-of-ways on either side of the bridge.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I think my only question revolves around some of the whereas clauses in the resolution. So I understand the resolution itself. It makes complete sense. The board has authority to close streets, and we want to close this street because the bridge is unsafe. The whereas clauses come in, make some statements about state law, and I just want to make sure that, you know, the position of the city is that these whereas clauses are sound and legal.
Can you point
So I
point
think
to?
you're going to look at the fourth whereas Indiana Code 8-17-1-46C. Is that where we're starting, James?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So this is the one that,
I know the statute. I just want to double check I want to double check it right here just to make sure. I've read it many times. So, yes, that is correct. C is the subsection of that statute. A municipality is responsible for the construction, reconstruction, and maintenance of a bridge that meets the following requirements, is located within the corporate limits of the municipality, has a span length equal to or less than 20 feet, and is not part of the state highway system.
Okay, so that is simply a restating of the state code.
That
It's
is
not,
correct.
It's not a legal opinion or anything like that.
That is just a restating of the
Okay.
code.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, is there public comment on this item? If you are on Zoom, use the chat function or raise hand.
I don't see any.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
Before I make a motion, I just want to make a statement, and I would encourage the city and the county to bring this to a conclusion as soon as possible, and I know that everyone will be doing everything they can to do that. And with that, I move that we approve Resolution 2026-028, closure of Clubhouse Drive.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Corone, aye. Motion passes. Next on the agenda is staff reports.
Good evening, Adam Wason, Public Works Director. I just want to offer a couple reports today. First, starting off with it's construction season in Bloomington. We've got MCCSC schools letting out on, I think Thursday's their last day. IU let out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. We are getting into the heart of our construction season. Yes, a lot of it takes place in this short period of time between the end of school and start of school, and we try to cram a lot in, but for a lot of reasons. Right now, we've kicked off our Kirkwood brick paver restoration project or maintenance project. So that's going block by block from Indiana to Walnut, reducing trip hazards and rebuilding the brick sidewalks on Kirkwood. So that's kicked off. Our downtown alleyway project, redoing alleys between College and Walnut, is continuing up from 7th towards 11th Street. We have downtown paving projects. If you've tried to get to Blooming Foods on the near west side for lunch today, you saw all the equipment of E&B paving out there, milling up a lot of our downtown streets around the near west side to do major contracted paving work. We will have a major paving project that'll kick off in the next couple weeks that goes from Grimes on the south side at Walnut, over through Patterson, past Novo Nordisk, up Rogers, and then also on Kirkwood near Rose Hill Cemetery into Rogers on the near west side there. Major paving projects that on roads that need major paving projects. That's on top of some private developments we've got going. You've heard tonight we have a lot of utility work going with utility replacements, continuing with our with Centerstone, the natural gas company. We have fiber companies out there. It is a busy time for construction and construction-related activities. So not only just to mention all the work we're doing and investments we're making, but also just reminding the traveling public, be mindful of all those construction workers out there doing this work. We know that it can have some inconvenience, but want to make sure our staff and the contracted staff we have completing all this good work is in the safest environment possible. On top of that, we just wanted to mention, it was May 15th last week, and so we had a big move-out session with the IU students and all the rental properties. I want to give a big shout-out to our sanitation team for all the extra work that they've been doing to keep the community looking clean. Been working with a lot of our landlords and property managers like we do year in, year out when this happens, but just want to give a big shout-out to the team over at sanitation. And then just generally want to note that it is American Public Works Week here nationally, and just thank the staff in Public Works for all of their work. We're having a little luncheon on Thursday to show some thanks in the small way of some shared lunch. So appreciate all their efforts, especially during National Public Works Week. So. We will also, just one last note on our accreditation process. We will begin our peer review process during the month of June on all of our accreditation activities, and then we'll have our formal site visits in July from the American Public Works Association to review all of our accreditation work, something that's been going on for over 3 years now. So big summer for us here in Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is approval of claims. Are there any board questions about claims tonight? Any public comment about claims?
I don't see any.
All right, is there a motion?
I move approval of the claims for the meeting held on Tuesday, May 19th in the amount of $1,644,935.85.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Carone, aye. Motion passes. And with nothing else on the agenda, I will call for adjournment.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.